Good afternoon again. My name is Zakiyyah Ali, and I'm the Executive Director of the Tech Council of Delaware. We are a workforce intermediary that's focused on three key things. The first is building and expanding inclusive tech talent pipelines. The second is creating a strong tech ecosystem in Delaware. And the third is increasing the state's position and perception as a tech hub. So if you know anything about Delaware, you may have heard about the 3 C's of our origin story, which are chemicals, DuPont, credit cards, originally MBNA and now Bank of America. We also have JP Morgan Chase in Delaware. That's the largest employer of tech talent in the private sector. And then also chickens, Purdue Farms and Mountaineer. So right now we're thinking more so about connections. You hear about regional connectivity. Delaware is a small state. We're just over 1 million residents total, but that's the total population of Philadelphia, right? So when we talk about connections, that's why I'm here today in Philadelphia, to make sure that folks know we're part of the larger Philadelphia metropolitan statistical area. So today I'm going to share 3 practices with you that guide how I do this work, which is really about how do local economies, how do local leaders of, local economic leaders confront their regional weaknesses while messaging their strengths honestly. Clicker's not working. Next slide.
Sorry about that.
Okay, thank you, it's okay. All right, so the answer really is honestly, right? And so local economic leaders should confront their regional weaknesses and tell their stories and their strengths honestly. Economic leaders must be honest both with themselves and their stakeholders about what they do well and about the areas in which they need to improve. So remember that, honesty is the best policy. It builds trust, it engenders respect, and it's the basic foundation from which you can build upon. So there are 3 things that can help you as a leader be honest about the realities of your strengths and weaknesses. And the first one is, next click, thank you, data, both quantitative and qualitative. The second one is related to having an objective, unbiased external assessment. And the third one is a comparative analysis to both peers and competitors. Once you have this information, you can then do an assessment of your strengths and your weaknesses and tell those messages. So one of the first things, click, thank you, that we did when we rebranded the organization into the Tech Council of Delaware is to invest in a tech data dashboard. And so this allows us to have accurate and timely data related to job concentration and growth, workforce demographics, and comparisons to similarly situated tech regions to Delaware. Our dashboard provides data from an unbiased third party and offers comparisons to those peers and competitors. Next slide. Right, thank you. So another beneficial resource that we use in terms of data came from Technically in their State of the Delaware Tech Economy report, which was published last November. So we view Technically as an unbiased external third party who we rely on to provide us with an assessment of Delaware as a tech hub. The report highlights, next slide, next click, thank you, comparisons with peer regions. And so you can see we're viewed against some other markets that Technically monitors in terms of tech industry jobs, tech firms, tech occupations, and you can see how Delaware stacks up or not. Next click. We're also evaluated in terms of R&D expenditures, in terms of new business starts related to other regions in the Mid-Atlantic area, and then the concentration of software developers. Next click. So also included in that report was a report card. Who doesn't want to get a report card? And so when we looked at the report card, we noticed as a workforce intermediary that we got a C, the technologist community, right in there. Our eyes went right to the workforce piece of it. And so in thinking about that, we knew specifically that we needed to address that. We knew that before we saw the report card. The other piece that was in this report from Technically was a clear statement that said parties matter. So as a workforce intermediary, we took note of that. Next click. We had already been in the process of addressing that particular weakness. And so our technologist community needed to come together. And so we created a series of happy hour and networking sessions called Tech Thursdays. So the qualitative data about Delaware as a vibrant, rich tech hub with a young, tech hip vibe is clear. We're not there yet, but we're actually working on that. We know that that's a weakness and we're addressing it. Next click. So, for a real-time case study of how I utilize those three practices of data, objective assessment, and comparative analysis, I want to share with you all about what's going on in the Mid-Atlantic region right now. And so the Economic Development Administration recently designated 31 regions as tech hubs last fall. And Philadelphia, the Philadelphia region, which includes Philadelphia, its collar counties, South Jersey, Delaware, and a little sliver of Maryland, submitted and received a designation as a tech hub for precision medicine, which is a subset of the life sciences industry. The hub, thank you, the hub is titled Propel, the National Center for Precision Medicine. So the designation of regions as tech hubs was the phase 1 part of the program. It allows those 31 hubs to now, in the phase 2 part of the program, actually apply for funding. So Philadelphia Works, you can see their logo up here as well. Their workforce intermediary here, and the Tech Council of Delaware collaborated to submit an $18 million application as part of the overall $85 million application under Propel for Tech Hubs funding for the life sciences industry here in the Philadelphia region.